Right, so I'm not gonna waste any of your time. I'm gonna get right into what gave rise to religion in the first place and why those reasons don't exist anymore today. Not only that, but later on in the video, I'm gonna talk about why religion is actively harmful in today's world. My name's Pranav, you're watching Science Dope. Let's begin. But before we do, I'm sure this video is gonna get recommended to many haters who are gonna question why a science channel is talking about all this. Well, if you read the description of this channel, you'd know that along with science, I try to promote rationality also on my channel. And plus, I've made tons of pure science content on this channel in the past. It's there in my catalog. You can watch it any time. And just because you haven't, you don't get to say that this is not a science channel. With that said, once again, my name's Pranav. You're watching Science is Dope. Let's begin.
Dad, what happened to Mom?
She's not with us anymore.
Where is she?
She's in a better place now.
For years, for centuries, for millennia, we held beliefs like these. But what happens to us after we die? And we didn't have religion at this point. We just had beliefs like these about places where we might go after we die, like heaven or whatever. That was a way for us to deal with grief, to tell ourselves that we go to a better place after death, that there is life after death. Add to that beliefs like our ancestors are watching over us from heaven. They'll protect us from disease, from famine, from all sorts of dangers. That probably gave us a lot of relief from anxiety. And there were really good reasons to be anxious. A simple cut, if it's deep enough, could get infected and literally kill a person. Diseases could come from anywhere. Another person coughing, a mosquito bite. You could get attacked by wild animals. Death could come from literally anywhere. You don't need to get old age diseases like cancer or heart disease. People often died very young. And on top of that, a bad year with no rain for their crops could mean starving to death. Clearly, there were a lot of things to be scared of. If only there was some supreme power that could protect everyone from all this. What if there are such powerful beings? What if they're watching over us from up there? That's where my mom went after she died, and I know she cares about me, so she would protect me. And that's probably how it all started. Worshipping ancestors and praying to them probably pleased them. And people probably believed that if they were pleased, they would bless them with a good future, provide rain for their crops and protection from disease, etc. All you need is for a lot of people to believe in ideas like these and tell the same to everyone around them, especially their children, who will tell their children, and these ideas will stay with us for generations. In addition, humanity was always curious. People always wondered, where did the sun and the moon come from? Why is nature so beautiful? Who made all the trees and animals and the waterfalls and lakes and beaches and mountains? And the best answer they could come up with for all this was a belief. A belief that the supremest and most powerful of these beings that they worshipped was responsible. The same curiosity combined with the human trait of self-awareness probably made us ask ourselves profound questions like, where did I come from and what's my purpose here? And we answered them with beliefs, not answers, again, beliefs. Because hey, it wasn't like someone was passing us notes with detailed, accurate answers. Soon a lot of these ideas that people believed, the most commonly held ideas of a region, became the culture of that place. These ideas and beliefs were probably then passed down from generation to generation, either orally or through writing, that eventually formed a framework that spanned even larger parts of the world, uniting people under a common banner, let's say. And that is probably what formed religions. And today, every facet of daily life and a lot of daily activities have religious context in them. So far, everything sounds great, doesn't it? So what's wrong with religion then? Seems like there's nothing wrong. Or is there? Okay, let's look at what we've touched upon so far. What are the pros of religion? It helps you deal with grief. It gives you relief from anxiety. It helps you answer difficult questions. It talks about various creation myths, about how things in the world came into being, about who's responsible for creating all the beauty in the world that you see. But do you see a problem here? It doesn't give you answers to any of these questions. It gives you beliefs as answers to these questions. And the problem with these beliefs, we don't know if they're true or false. If you ask anyone from that religion, they believe it to be true. If you ask anyone outside of that religion, they'll say it's false. The problem with these beliefs is that they're only beliefs. There is no truth value anchored to them. There is another problem with answering these questions with beliefs rather than finding actual answers.
Hey, what's that on your arm?
Oh, I've never noticed. I better get it checked with a doctor.
Yeah, it's probably nothing.
Yeah, you're right. Huh, stage 4 cancer? Metastasized melanoma? Is this the end for me?
The problem is that the way religion answers all these questions is as good as lying to yourselves. Just like the patient in the last skit, lying did relieve his anxiety. But when what he believed was put to the test by test results from a doctor, his belief was shattered, and that relief from anxiety he experienced was just completely destroyed. So that's my point. The way religion helps people deal with all these problems is by giving them untested beliefs, aka lying to them. And the problem with lying to yourselves is only when those lies get exposed, when your beliefs get tested for whether they're really true or not. When push comes to shove. There's this small little trick that people resort to when they realize that what they believe is not true. They will outright deny the truth. For them, their beliefs are the actual truth, and anyone trying to say otherwise are complete lunatics who got the evidence wrong. We see this with Christians and Muslims who try to deny evolution. No religion has actual answers to any of these questions. These gurus or priests or mullahs aren't any better at answering these questions than the average person is. But the average person thinks they are. And religion derives a lot of power from this false authority. Here I wanted to get into the next chapter on problems with religion, but I have to talk about one more big elephant in the room, and that is, drum roll, morality. Everyone thinks that religion is what gives people morality, what gives people values. But have you really thought about it? What is morality exactly? Humans are social animals, and there are certain unspoken and some very much spoken rules that you have to abide by when you live in such a society. Such as, let's take some obvious ones: don't kill, don't steal, etc. And if you don't follow these rules, you'll have to face the consequences. Maybe you'll be punished somehow, maybe you'll be ousted from the group. We created a construct called morality for such rules. And the morality of a person is determined by the culture he grew up in, his or her upbringing. And that culture does not have to be a religious one. Look at the European countries that don't have religious societies. Ask yourself, are those people immoral? Religions did not give us morality. Are you saying that these rules and understandings did not exist before religions? Like, all the religions of the world are maybe a few thousand years old. Humanity in its current form is hundreds of thousands of years old. Oh, how on earth did we survive all that while till religions came along to show us the right way? You can even take other social animals like lions or chimpanzees to understand this idea of morality or idea of rules, social rules, a bit better. But Pranav, I've seen those animals kill their own kind. How can you call them moral? Yeah, there are scenarios where those animals can and do kill their own kind, just like humans also do in self-defense, for example. See, that's a scenario that we made up where it's acceptable to kill another person. I'm not saying it's the exact same scenario for lions, But for example, when a new male lion or lions take over a pride, they kill all the previous male's cubs so that the females are ready to mate again. That's a scenario in lion society where killing happens. Lions don't go killing willy-nilly outside these scenarios, outside these rules and scenarios. If they do, they have to face the consequences just like humans do. You don't have to call all this morality, but some sort of rudimentary social rules that exist among all these animals. For humans, those rules have evolved to be much more complex thanks to our intelligence. So the next time you credit religion with morality, think about all that I've said. Now let's come to the problems with religion. Let's ignore all the wars fought in the name of religion. The wars between religions and religious communities, and also all the wars fought within a religion, like the Inquisition, against the people who were labeled heretics or atheists, who were seen as threats. Let's ignore all the people who were persecuted or worse, burned alive for questioning the ideas of the dominant religion. Good thing, all that is a thing of the past and none of that happens in any part of the world today. Oh wait, scratch that. I don't want to spend any more time in this video talking about physical violence that takes place today in the name of religion. I'd like to spend more time talking about how religion is harmful in other ways. There are people who claim to be divine, or maybe other people imagine them to be so. This is particularly a problem in my country, India. These so-called spiritual leaders have immense power over their cult-like followers. Power that is used to spread ideas that are blatantly untrue. Power that is often used for political manipulation to gather votes. Hell, religion itself can be used as a tool for political manipulation. If there is a religious majority in the country, just appease them to gain all their votes. Sometimes your plans may backfire, but it's worth it because humans easily fall prey to tribalism. I've spoken out about this multiple times in the past. You can check my channel out to see the videos I've made on such topics. The other problem is that these spiritual leaders can give you ideas like, if you believe and pray really hard, your cancer will magically go away, or your enemy will be cursed through black magic, or your house itself will magically bring you prosperity if you follow these rules. People who believe these kinds of ideas have been indoctrinated all their lives that they believe these superstitions to be true. And these people are more than willing to give their health and their wealth and even their lives for it, often with disastrous consequences. And the people who fight against these superstitions are often killed, and the law doesn't bat an eye. I did a video on one such story here if you're interested. Basically, religions promote scams and scamsters and promote the opposite of critical thinking, all of which lead people to make poor decisions that can often mean life or death, or bad political outcomes for their nation or their own individual finances. If you don't think I've listed down enough problems because of religion, here's one more. Religion promotes oppression. It's very obvious within Hinduism, the religion that I came from. There is a hierarchy that often causes violent oppression and discrimination against the so-called lower castes. But something I learned recently over the last couple of years is that this sort of caste system, or at least a system of hierarchy, exists in other religions as well. I know such groups exist in Islam and Christianity for sure. Without going into detail, religions often create a system of hierarchy that lead to oppression and discrimination. There are many other negative points about religion that I can cover, but these are the ones I decided to cover in this video. If any of you feel like I should have talked about more things, please let me know in the comments below. Now let's move on to how we can tackle these problems without religion. The first problem is that religion tackles or tries to tackle a lot of problems by lying to themselves. That's how they try and relieve anxiety and deal with grief. In today's day and age, there are mental health professionals like therapists and counselors who help you deal with anxiety and grief without lying to you and without giving you a baggage of ideas and beliefs that, if you don't follow, could lead to other problems in your life. They can help you deal with grief in your life by not giving you ideas like you can see them, you can see your dead relatives after you die. As for questions about death, we understand things about death a lot better now. In fact, every aspect of the human body, about our health, about what foods we should and should not eat, medicine has improved exponentially. Anxiety about death is a thing of the past. Medicine has improved so much that, except for access to proper healthcare, very few people die of preventable causes of death. And we know so much about how the universe works, how life on Earth works. We understand a lot of things about how things began to exist. And where we don't have answers, we are constantly in search for them, letting evidence lead the way like a candle in the dark. Also, these profound questions like, what is my purpose? That is a question that is rooted in religion. This whole things have a purpose is a religious idea to begin with. Imagine every child being born in this world be having a purpose and then trying to fulfill that purpose. How silly would that be? All these kinds of questions without this context of religion are kinda meaningless. The whole purpose of life is to live as happily as you can and help people as much as you can and leave behind a legacy that people can remember you by. Religion has done a great job of taking over a big chunk of our culture, that there are a few secular activities left that you can take part in. That is, if you live in some parts of the world. That's not true in a city like Bengaluru, where I live, or practically in any urbanized part of the world. There are meetups, groups, sports, games, activities, etc., all of which are secular. Move to a city and you'll most likely leave behind your religious past. Remember that humans are social animals and we need social interaction for our well-being. And that social interaction does not have to be in a religious context. This context of religion is something that needs to be shed from our lives. People aren't given enough opportunity to learn about the flaws of religion, and our education system can do that. Whether it does that is a whole other question, but education in science can do that. And we mustn't just teach children the results of science, we have to teach them how we learned those results. We have to teach them the methods of science. And in my opinion, that's actually far more interesting than learning facts and figures. Teach them how to think rather than what to think. Teach them the importance of evidence. And I can't stress that point enough. My entire channel is dedicated to it. We have to teach children rationality explicitly. How people tend to confirm their biases rather than question them. And how not to fall into that trap. And how not to fall into the trap of believing something just because an authority tells you so. And the trap of believing something just because everyone around you believes it. And to question everything that seems a little sus. And how questioning everything and disproving wrong ideas with evidence is the very process of the scientific method. And when there are unanswered questions or questions for which we don't know the answer, teach them to be comfortable with just saying, I don't know, rather than filling that gap in knowledge with some untested belief. Teach them that every I don't know is an opportunity to find new answers. And lastly, let's all remember that we are in the age of the internet. And while it's possible for someone to get trapped in the rabbit hole of wrong ideas, the internet is more often than not a place where you can fill those gaps in knowledge that you have, help you learn what's actually true. And when you do, learn what sort of evidence is there to back up what you know to be true. By the way, if you're wondering about this shirt, it's from my friend's t-shirt brand called Substrata. And it's super comfy and you can see how it looks yourself. And if you're interested, you can check it out. I'll leave links to it in the description below. And if you like my work, you can support me through any of the options you see on your screen. The links to it, I've left them all below. I'd like to thank my highest tier supporters on Patreon and YouTube. If you like this video, you might also like this one on religions and brainwashing. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, remember, science is dope.